here. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Patty Bailey, our spotlight speaker, and she's going to tell us her story of how she came to work for Mary Kay and her journey along the way.
Thank you, and happy birthday, Brooke.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay! You guys can sing later. I won't. So thank you, everyone, for being here. So I started, really, if I really go back, I grew up on a farm, and so I grew up with a really good work ethic, and my dad always told me when you work for someone else, you'll always work the hours they tell you to work, and you'll never make more money than they tell you that you can make. And so that always stuck with me. And then my mom passed away when I was right at my junior year of school, so I had to help him with the books in the farming. And so that was something I learned really, really fast. Was I'm like, Dad, you're sure you have enough money in your account? Because I don't want my credit to be bad before I get started. So he's like, you're my kid. I go, I know, but I don't want you to screw up my credit. So I did learn that really fast as a young age, and learned about finances and stuff. So that really helped me. So when I moved to Lincoln, I went to school, started my full-time job. I was working at a law firm. I taught fitness on the side, ref volleyball for the city on the side, was in another direct sales company on the side, which I didn't care for. I was quitting that. And my friend Angie Jorgensen shared the Mary Kay opportunity with me. And one of the things that really stuck out to me the most, what it was based on faith first, family second, career third, which I always had a strong faith, but at the law firm we weren't really supposed to talk about our faith and things like that, and so that always bothered me. So it was the first place that I ever was at besides church that I could really talk about my faith, and I was really impressed with that. So I thought, it was 6 months before I was getting married. I'm like, why not add one more thing to my plate? I could make a little extra money, help pay for the wedding. Probably won't stick with it, but we'll see what happens. And that November 1st, I've been in Mary Kay for 29 years. So I started when I was 2. But it's just crazy how it has flourished, and things just, when you put effort into something, it just goes. And it was a great part-time job. It's been a great full-time job. I've earned 12 cars over the years. We don't keep them, so they're not lined up in my street. We earn a new one every other year, and then we take it into the dealership. We used to get to sign our name in one place to return it, and sign our names in 2 places to get the new one. Now we don't have to sign anything. We just trade keys. Not even keys. We trade fobs. And so you're really kind of spoiled, because you're used to driving new cars all the time, and you don't relate to people with car problems. And I know that sounds really bad, because you never have to relate to that. It's really kind of a good thing.
Don't talk to Ray.
Sorry. So, and then Mary Kay believed in praising to people to success. And so I've earned, I've always been a high seller of the product. So I have earned 23, since 2000, I've earned a diamond ring from Mary Kay every year. So I have 23 real diamond rings. This is my newest one. And so my husband loves it because he thinks he doesn't have to buy me jewelry. He's wrong. I continue to tell him that, but it doesn't always work. But it's just been a phenomenal company, and just the personal growth, the people skills that I've learned over the years that you don't even realize that you need it until you're in it. It's been phenomenal. So, and one of the tips that one of my upline had told me, she's like, if you can learn how to sell this product, you can sell and do a great job. She goes, you can sell yourself out of any crunch you could ever get yourself into, which is so true. So direct sales obviously there's always people, you bring people in and they're in the company underneath you, but everybody's still working independently, and that's a phenomenal thing. But you can't always rely on other people, but you can always rely on yourself. So that was the one thing that stood out to me the most with the sales part of it, is that if I get into any issues, if I happen to go shopping more than I should, because it happens, or you just have unexpected other bills other than car repairs, then you can get on the phone and you can go meet some people and you can get some sales, and you can work your way out of that. So that's something I've always appreciated, and I have left all those other jobs. I still teach fitness here a little bit on the side, but I left everything along the way. So it's been a great opportunity. So anyway, I don't know if you have any questions.
Lots of questions.
Okay.
This one I did not send you beforehand, but I'm curious if you said you were with another direct sales company before. I'm curious about how, since you've been in this company for 29 years, the change that has happened. Do you still sell the same way you did 29 years ago, or has the model changed? Can you tell us about some of those changes?
Yeah, for sure. And it has changed. I mean, everything changes, especially over the last few years. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things have, I still like to, I'm an extrovert, so I really love to meet people in person. But a lot of people have gone to doing Zoom appointments or FaceTime appointments, which that's a great option because then you can talk to people all over the country. I mean, we don't have territories in Mary Kay except for the United States, but it's pretty big, so I think we're good. And there's a lot of people. And everybody has skin, so I don't think we're ever going to run out of customers, which is amazing. And all of our products are tested more than any other company out there. So that's the other thing. I've always believed that I know that we are putting out the best products out there, and they back everything 100% too. So if anybody ever has a problem with anything, Mary Kay is going to back it 100%. So that person or the consultant is never going to have any problems with being out the money for that product. So that's something I try to really encourage people to do, really, always follow up with your customers too and make sure that the products are working for them, because if for some reason they did have a problem with it, you don't want them just to have it in their drawer or be unhappy. You want to help, you want them to be happy. So that's really important to me, and that's always been a huge thing for me. And we did build, thankfully, we built the new R3 center in Dallas. It's the distribution center where they develop all the products, and they hired 10 new scientists at the time when they opened that, just before COVID. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, it's amazing. We took a tour of it. It is so amazing. If anybody ever gets the opportunity to go to Dallas and take a tour of it, I highly recommend it for anybody. But it's really cool. And then they have a timeline too on the wall of what has happened. Mary Kay started the company in 1963, but all the changes throughout the years, which has been really cool. So we're starting our 60th anniversary as a company. So, and it's been, but that's the only reason we were able to stay open during the pandemic, was because they literally, it was the day before we had gotten a message saying we may be shutting down, and they were able to develop hand sanitizer, and they distributed it freely throughout the country.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so we were able to stay open because that was developed. And if it would have been in another country, that would have never happened. Where most companies are taking their stuff over to other countries to develop it at a lesser price. Mary Kay, she was based out of Dallas, and she's like, they wanted it. I mean, Mary Kay's been gone for several years, but her grandson's still in the company.
Wow.
So it's a privately owned company. It was on the market for a few years, late 70s, early 80s, and Mary Kay bought it back because one of the shareholders was saying that they didn't need to give cars and diamond rings and everything, and Mary Kay called and she's like, how many shares does that person own? and they had two shares, and she's like, that's it, I'm buying my company back. And she bought it back, and so it's been privately owned ever since that. And and then she started also the charitable foundation in 1996, which is Cancer Research Affecting Women and Domestic Violence Abuse Awareness. And since 1996, over $20 million has been donated to that fund, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I donate every single time I place an order, so I need to share that more with my customers to know, so that they know that every time they place an order, that's getting donated back to charitable. And there is, I'm trying to remember, at least 2 locations in every state every year that gets $20,000. So like the Friendship Homes received it several times, but different in like Norfolk, I know, there's just been different places all over the state that have received that she's been doing that since 1996. So yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, she did pass away in 2001 on Thanksgiving, but her granddaughter is the one that's in charge of the charitable foundation. So yeah.
Have you ever run into any type of negative stereotype or any kind of negativity about it being direct sales?
Oh, for sure. always. And people, they're always like, oh, it's a pyramid, it's not. Everybody makes the same on the product, so it's not. We do, yeah, so it doesn't matter what level you come in, day one, you're gonna make the same amount on the product as somebody that's been in Mary Kay since it opened 60 years ago, or almost 60 years ago, which is amazing, I think. Then Mary Kay pays us a commission off the people that are underneath of us out of her 50%. So if, as a director, and then we also have a retirement program too. So people can become a national sales director, and people that become national sales directors, when they retire at 65, they go back their last 5 years, throw out the 2 bad years, keep the 3 good years, and pay them 60% of what they were making for the next 15 years. So, and then you can have a beneficiaries, also. So if something happens to you before you're that age, then it still goes to your family or whoever you donate it to. So it's really, I don't know of any other direct sales company that has a retirement program. So it's phenomenal. And even if you choose not to become a national, you can be in Mary Kay as long as you want, and you're still going to make the same on those products and the commission and the cars. You can't forget the cars.
Are you a national director?
I am not a national. I'm a independent sales director, but I'm not a national sales director. So. No, but everybody has the opportunity, which is amazing. We were just at a training last weekend, and one of the people that came to speak to us broke the record. She became a national in 2 years. She moved here from Cuba with nothing. Didn't speak English. When she started Mary Kay, she was 28 and became a national sales director within 2 years, which is absolutely unheard of that anybody does it that fast. But she was amazing, and she's just like, she goes, I don't care what's going on in the rest of the world, the United States still has the best opportunities anywhere. So it was so good to listen to her and just her view on things, and she's like, and everybody, if somebody says no, you just go to the next person, because and everybody's gonna, and that's the beauty of it. There's so many different products out there because not everything works for everybody. So, and that's what I always tell people too. It may not work for you, but it may work for the next person. So, and if you had a bad experience, I'm sorry that happened, but it was your bad experience, and sometimes people need to give a second chance too. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, any other questions?
What's been your favorite piece of advice, or favorite book, or favorite tool over the years that has helped you?
Favorite piece of advice would be that you can always sell. One of my favorite books, I brought it along so I could show it. Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. I absolutely love Joyce Meyer. Was introduced to her shortly after I quit my full-time job at the law firm, and so I do listen to a lot of her stuff. I went to a conference of hers too a few weeks ago. Have several of her books actually, but she's one of my favorite authors. That she's just really down to earth and kind of says it like it is. One of those kind of people. So great book. So
great. Keeps you perked up and motivated.
Perked up and motivated. Okay, so I'm not the norm. I know that probably seems surprising to most people. No. I like to get up really early, usually before it gets dark. Before it gets light, because then people can't see how I've dressed. Because if it's really cold, I look like look crazy. But anyway, like it was a couple days ago. But I get up early and I run with my 3 dogs and I pray while I'm running. So I just love it every morning, and I just do that, and it just gets me going and gets me on the right track. So,
awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Favorite local restaurant or local business that you like to shop at?
Oh, well, I'm a big fan of all these boutiques that keep going up everywhere. They're very bad for me. But I do love those. My sister actually has a boutique in her hair salon, which she's not local. She's in a small town by Wilbur. The name of the town is Swanton. But so now not only do I buy hair products, but I buy clothes every time. Which saved me during COVID though, because I was still getting new clothes during COVID because I would go to her salon and shop. So, but then a restaurant. Let's see. I love Laszlo's, but I also love Hacienda Real, and I love Mexican. So yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Does anybody have other questions for Patty? Comment?
Patty, you said, we've known each other a long time, but you said part of the joy that you get from what you're doing is the learning experience and the fact, and leadership. Share a little bit about what maybe some of those biggest nuggets were that you gained from a leadership role like you're part of Mary Kay.
Okay. So biggest nugget from leadership role would be just getting to inspire other women to see the good, because they're good in every situation. There's always bad things that happen, but there's always something good that comes out of every situation. But to help other people with that too, and then just people skills and helping other people with people skills too. Because I know, like, one of the first things I learned in Mary Kay was thinker feeler. I'm a thinker, but for the longest time before I was in Mary Kay, I would be like, why is everyone crying? Oh my gosh, what is wrong with them? Well, there's nothing wrong with them. They're feelers, and it's just some people wear their emotions on their sleeve, and some people keep them internalized. And that was one of probably the biggest things that I learned, and to be able to share that kind of thing with other people is really, I love that, to help people understand other people. So I don't know if that answers your question. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times, when I was in direct sales, that people forget that with every sale you make, you are adding to the Lincoln economy.
Mm-hmm.
And direct sales, granted, there are some that are just not really good, but a lot of them are, and they help people make ends, whether they go into it full time or they just need a stop gap, especially when you're in the entrepreneur world. I just need some income right now.
Right.
To help me get from point A to point B. And I think a lot of people tend to forget that. And here's the thing, you sell makeup. Most women and men are using makeup. There's those that sell the, fill in the blank, the jewelry, the whatever, but it's something that we need, especially as business women.
Right.
To have that appearance, to have that professional appearance, or just to keep, young looking or whatnot.
Right. Mary Kay always used to say nothing happens until somebody sells something. And if you really think about it, you're selling every day. You're selling yourself. You go to the grocery store, you're buying food, or Joyce Meyer always says nobody gets upset when you ask for food or when you ask for money at a restaurant, but if you're at a church, people get mad. So why is that? Nothing's free. So I don't know. And yeah, I agree with you 100%. Because you're selling confidence. You're helping people feel confident about themselves. So that's one thing I've always loved too. I've also learned when you work for yourself that my dad always said this too, was your lows are lower, but your highs are much higher. So always, just remember that. Sometimes you will have bad times because everybody does, but you're going to have those good times too, and sometimes they're going to be even better. So. I was thinking before, when I first joined Mary Kay and I was working at the law firm, I did have car problems. I literally, it was one of those deals where it was like 1 week and something happened, and then like a week or two later, there were big dollar items, and and I couldn't go to the law firm and say, hey, can I make some extra money? Because there's only so much overtime you can work. But I could get on the phone and I could get some appointments set up and I could sell some product, and I was able to pay for all that without using a credit card or anything. And it was in the thousands of dollars, so it wasn't like it was any small feat. It wasn't, it wasn't much. So yeah, it was good.
What advice would you give to somebody who feels intimidated to get on the phone or feels intimidated in sales?
Okay. First of all, get excited. Do something, get excited before you get on the phone. So if you have to run up and down the stairs, or run around your table if you don't have stairs, or run around the block, then you're getting exercise too. But then you get that excitement in your voice. Because if you get on the phone, you're like, oh, and call the people that you know that are going to say yes first. So if you can get some yeses first, that helps. I like to write down when I'm calling people, and then I highlight the ones that I actually talk to, because sometimes you can get on the phone and you're like, oh my gosh, nobody answers their phone, which they don't. So I actually do more texting now than I do calling. But regardless, even if they respond to your text, you could still write it down and highlight it, and then you can look at that sheet of paper and be like, oh, well, no, I didn't talk to everybody, and the last 10 people didn't respond, but I did actually talk to 10 people earlier, or whatever your goal is. So just even those small goals, and just have those small daily goals that help you get going. And do your 6 most important things to do before you go to bed the night before, so you don't waste time in the morning trying to figure out what you're supposed to do. That makes a huge difference too. So, yeah, because you can waste a lot of time in the morning going, Right. And even little tips, pick your clothes out the night before, so you don't do that, stand in the closet and go, I don't know what to wear today. That helps me too. I'll pick them out the night before, and then after I run in the morning, sometimes I change my mind, but at least I had some direction to get started. So, but yeah.
You said you led some fitness classes?
Yes.
Say a little more about that.
My fitness classes, when I first started, that was always one of my things. My first full-time job, I wanted to join a health club, so I did. But I right away wanted to teach fitness, because I'm like, I just want to be that person up front. I don't know why, because anyway, that wasn't my normal, so I don't know why. Anyway, I just wanted to have that excitement and enthusiasm, and so I started teaching at that first original health club early morning. Actually, one of my friends I worked with at the law firm got me started going early morning, because I was only like 20. I wasn't very old. So, that's not your... 7 years ago, you are correct, 7 years ago. But she wanted to play racquetball 2 or 3 times a week, and at 6 a.m. I go, are you crazy? Like, people don't really exercise that early, do they? Anyway, but when I got started, I just loved how I felt. It just gave me so much more energy to get up, and so then I started doing fitness classes on the off days, and then I wanted to teach them, and so that did end up happening, that I could teach them, and then I was like, I wanted to teach more, but they didn't want you to teach too much at the same club, so then I started going all over Lincoln, and my accountant told me one year, he's like, you had more W-2s than any other person has ever had. This is crazy, Patty. But it was really fun, and I met lots of people because I was going to all the different clubs in Lincoln. And then I suddenly got to the point where I'm like, maybe I should kind of tone it down. And one of my friends asked me if I would teach fitness to retired people, and I'm like, I've never done that before. I've always done high impact. I did kickboxing and spinning and just everything high impact. And I started teaching at the Legacies, and I absolutely loved doing that. I love that population, and I love teaching. So the classes I teach now are sit and be fit classes. So we're seated in a chair the whole time, but we work hard. But it's really fun. I just do that a couple days a week, and it's just a lot of fun to help people. And you're helping people with everyday things, where just to do normal stuff, get off the chair, get out of bed, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of fun. So and I get to meet a lot of people. So yeah. So anything else?
Can you talk about how, so when you stopped teaching all of those classes, how do you structure your day, or how do you stay diligent working in direct sales from home? How do you stay structured?
I definitely do a weekly plan sheet, and I'm a paper person, so I need to have it. I'm a visual. I have got to have paper. I don't necessarily look at it again, but if I at least put it on paper to start, and then I use different colored markers to mark out my different things. So I even did it when I had a full-time job. I marked that usually in black because I didn't want to be there. I know that's really bad, but and take advantage of all your little. I know, because everybody's busy, so take advantage of all your little snippets of time. So like over lunch, I would go sit in my car and make phone calls, or sit outside if it was nice. So just take advantage of it. And even now, I always have note cards with me, or just different. Always have my customer list with me. So if you're waiting at a train, I mean, you could write a couple notes while you're sitting at a train, or waiting in a doctor's office or a dentist's office or something like that. I mean, take advantage of all those little snippets of time. I mean, just be diligent, and then I'm like, okay, where do I want to work? That's the nice thing about when you work for yourself. You figure out where you want to work, and then I highlight that time, and I'm like, okay, my goal is to fill these times, and my goal is to always have it filled by Sunday for the next week. And if it's not, I mean, then I'll send reminder text, confirming the appointments, kind of like your dentist does. And then my goal is then to fill the rest of the time slots that I have. So, but that's the biggest thing, is that you work when you want to work versus, so like this week we're going to go out of town on Saturday. I mean, I try not to work a lot of Saturdays, but I do. I do. But a lot of times, I'll be like, we're going to be out of town, so I just don't schedule anything for that time. So, and I'm in networking groups. I'm in different networking groups, so that's all scheduled in my calendar, and church and Bible studies and things like that. So, and my fitness classes. So, and that's why I like to work out early morning too, because if you work out late after work, a lot of times things can come up, or a meeting will run late, or something will run late. Whereas if you do it first thing in the morning, first you only have to take 1 shower a day. Because there was many times I was taking 3 and 4 showers a day. I'm not going to lie. It was crazy. Yeah, right. And that's what I told myself. I'm like, well, at least I get my products at cost. This is good. But yeah, so now I can just work out in the morning, have 1 shower a day, and then go on with the rest of my day. And I know I always get my workout in, whereas if I was doing it at night, then I didn't always get it in. So that was the other thing. And it speeds up your metabolism for the rest of the day if you work out in the morning. So that's the other good thing.
Well, one nice thing about your business is that even when you're on vacation or traveling Saturday, you have the opportunity that if somebody brings it up, you might have a sale right there.
Right. Exactly, and then everything becomes a tax write-off. Everything you use is a tax write-off. It's true. And then when you're traveling, exactly. When you're traveling, those become tax write-offs. My accountant said if you're going because we went to Hawaii for one of our anniversaries, and I tried to write that off, and he's like, he goes, don't, unless you want to get audited. I'm like, okay, no, you're right. So, but those kind of things that you're doing on a normal basis become tax write-offs. And then your networking events, those are tax write-offs because you're using it for your business. So, things that you're doing on a normal everyday basis become a tax. The things, I use a lot of products because, I use everything. Yeah, it's like, so for the last 29 years, all I've used is Mary Kay. So if people ask me about anybody else's products, I honestly can't tell them because I haven't tried them. I might see them in the store or on TV or something, but I know nothing about them. So I know Mary Kay's doing all the research, so I don't worry about that. And if I have questions, we have a medical line that we can call and we can ask any questions and talk to a real person anytime we want to. I should say anytime during business hours. So, but we can talk to a real person, which is nice, and they're amazing, and they get back to you. You don't even have to leave a message. So it's great. So. Yeah.
You touched on as direct sales, you're able to deduct a number of things.
Right.
Like if you have your office in your house,
right.
You can deduct part of your utilities, mileage,
yep.
And I would presume that in Mary Kay, such as in my other company, you can deduct haircuts and various things like that because you're in the beauty business.
Right. I haven't done the haircuts, but I have done. Yeah, like everything I use, and then a portion of your house payment, all your utilities, your mileage, because you can either write your mileage off, and you can write all the maintenance to your car off too. So like oil changes, windshield wiper blades. Tires. I have had to buy tires, even though in 2 years most people don't put that many miles on, but I generally do. So I have had to buy tires, which is unfortunate. Tires are. I know. Tires are expensive. So I try to earn my cars, strategically, so I don't have to buy tires, but it doesn't always work that way. About my family? I'm married. We've been married for almost 28 and a half years. We have 3 dogs. We don't have kids. We have dogs. Spoil them. We have nieces and nephews that we spoil. Now they're all getting grown up, but now we're starting to spoil their kids, which is really fun. I'm the favorite aunt. I'm the one that gives sugar and gives them back. But they're super fun. I have an older sister and a younger brother. My brother took over the farm, so he's still back there. The farm's been in our family since my great-grandparents came over from Germany and then some Czechoslovakia on my mom's side. So, and let's see, my husband's has a sister that lives here in town. She's a teacher, and her husband's a teacher, and so I have to support teacher things. And they have 3 kids, and then I have a sister-in-law. Her husband passed away last year, almost a year ago, in Holdridge, and I have a brother and sister-in-law my husband's brother and sister-in-law by York. So great family, and nieces and nephews that live. Some in Lincoln, some are out. So we see each other a lot, and it's great. Spoil them a lot.
How broad is your customer base?
It's big, actually. I have, on a consistent basis, I have about 350, 360 people on my customer list. And since we don't have territories, I have a lot of people that have even moved out of state. So I have some people in Florida and, just all over, Alaska. The person in Alaska I've actually never met. She lived here and then she moved to Alaska with her mom, and so it was crazy. And then I have another friend from Alaska that moved here. I didn't know her when she was in Alaska, that's kind of fun. I don't have anybody in Hawaii, darn it. But right, I'm trying. Yeah, exactly. So I do have in my consultant base, the consultants underneath me, all my people are in the Midwest. So that is fun. So I travel to go to work with them, but thankfully I can travel by car to go see them and work with them, which I enjoy. So, and that's not mandatory. It's just I like to be able to go in person and work with people rather than just over the phone or texting or. We have so many tools. They could never talk to me again and be able to figure it out. There's so much stuff on the Mary Kay website, but it's always better to be able to talk to somebody in person and help people.
Top 3 things that you share with the people that work for you to help them become better
to help them become better leaders. Go to company events, because there's so much information at the company events, and the top directors are the ones that are training us, and their knowledge and their wisdom, and the national sales directors that are training us, that is the number one thing I'd encourage people to do. But once again, it's your own business, so nothing's mandatory. And then we have meetings that are local also. I encourage them to go to those also. And then I encourage them just to read good stuff, listen to good stuff, and give compliments to people every day. I mean, I don't think that people hear enough compliments every day, and so if you can, that's my biggest tip is I'm like, give 5 different people 5 different compliments every day. And it's got to be true, you know, you can't just be making stuff up. So I had one of them tell me one time, she goes, I always tell people they have nice shoes. And I go, why? She goes, because so many people are looking down and I want them to look up. And so everybody looks up when you tell them they have nice shoes. I'm like, that's a great tip. I love it. So, yeah, and then to learn people skills, you know, if there's other different events you can go to learn more people skills, I think that's always, like we went to Leaders Lead, different stuff. Yeah, there you go. Yesterday. So, I mean, there's always those different events that you can go to where you learn from different people. So, yeah. Anything else?
Any other final questions or comments? Are the cars still pink?
The Cadillacs are still pink. I have one of the other cars right now. I have a Chevy Malibu, and it's silver. It does say Mary Kay on it, on the sides and on the back. So if you're ever following one of those cars and it says Mary Kay, those are paid for by Mary Kay also. So, and then there's also a black Equinox. So there are different levels of cars that you can earn. And then the Nationals are usually driving the Escalade. So if you ever see a pink Escalade, those are the Nationals, and they're definitely making 6 figures. So yeah, they're making a lot of money. So, which is amazing. They said out of all the self-made millionaires in the United States, 80% are men, and out of the 20% that are women, 80% are in Mary Kay.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's there's no limit to what you can do. We've had people making over $100,000 a month, which is crazy. I mean, because there's no limit to what you can do. I don't personally do that, but there are people that have. I mean, but there's just no limit to what you can do. It's just a matter of what you want to put into it. So that's the great thing about direct sales. So you can make as little as nothing, or as much as no limit. So.
Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for being here, Patty.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Feel free to stay around, have more coffee. Patty bought